Lincoln High School. Just a quick video here to explain to you how to do the typography assignment. So we've talked about the principles of typography. We went through that PowerPoint last class, so if you missed that, you need to go back and watch the recording posted in Schoology. So for this assignment, we're going to go ahead and basically design kind of like a mock web page, landing page, using Adobe Photoshop. And we'll go ahead and just use regular US paper size. And the goal here is to illustrate the principles of typography design. So I'm going to be looking for those things that we talked about, right? We're going to be looking for hierarchy. We're going to be looking for readability, right? Legibility, contrast, right? A lot of those things that we talked about. So try to use the style, try to follow the style used in the attached examples. It doesn't have to be exact, but follow the rules of typography, please. So there are several examples here for you, kind of a general basic home page that you might see for a website. So think about what your web page is trying to communicate and then choose a font family, right? So think about your fonts and think about what they communicate, right? So if I'm making a website for a bank, I probably want to stick to some fairly conservative fonts, right? Because they're very serious. But if I'm doing something, I don't know, like Disneyland, you might be a bit more whimsical. Maybe if I'm doing a website for some sort of Halloween, what do you want to call it, haunted house or something like that, right? I might choose some sort of creepy font, right? So that's the first thing you want to do is go ahead and choose a font family that matches your subject matter. Design according to hierarchy, right? So what's the most important info? It should be big and bold, right? And the next important is a little bit smaller and then less important, right? Use similarity and consistency, right? So all the headings are the same size, the same font, right? All your links maybe to your different pages all look very similar. Design according to contrast. So contrast, right? Using two font families, one serif and one sans serif. So we'll take a look here at some examples. I think these are examples that Mrs. Toff put together. But here's just a designer, right? If we look, this looks like it's a very much concordance, right? They use one font for everything, but added some contrast by changing the colors of the font, right? We got hierarchy because we got bigger text up here at the top is our title, and then we got these different websites here. These different links to different pages here. Again, it looks like a website, right? Their name, their social media links, menu. Here's another example of McCooney's, right? Apparently somebody likes sushi, not me. Again, this is using mostly concordance, it looks like. I would have liked to see some contrast, but McCooney's, right? And you're gonna get the links here. Some of this is all real simple, right? This is all text and shapes and photos. This is all stuff you know how to do in Photoshop. So again, here's our first page, our second page, our third page, right? Again, title each page, same color, same size, same shape, very consistent. All right, here's one with a little bit of contrast. So we got Zebra Tales, the school newspaper, right? So Zebra is in a sans serif font, and then Tales is in this kind of script font. Right, so you got nice contrast there, and then a little subtitle, and then some links to different pages. All right, so these are all examples I believe that the other teacher made up. But here's an example I pulled from last year. Somebody did a website on Explore San Francisco, and so they showed off a few more things that we've learned in Photoshop. Let me see. So here, we do got lots of shapes here. And it does look like the colors, in some of these cases, the colors were pulled out of the images and stuff like that. So very nice color design. But here we go. We got Explore San Francisco, right? And you can see they use contrast. So Explore is in a sans serif font, and then San Francisco is in a serif font. It's very fancy, very nice. And then again, only use two fonts on the page, right? One of the things I will check to see is to make sure that you only use one serif and one sans serif font. So I'll look at something like the A here, and I'll look at the A down here and go, okay, those both match the same Those are both the same serif fonts. And then looking here at, I don't know, maybe what could I look at? Because this is all capital up here. So explore, the O's look the same. So yeah, I'm fairly confident it's probably the same sans serif font as well. All right, and then she put in a gradient, which is very nice, right? So that's one of the tools we learned in the last couple assignments, how to put in a gradient in the backgrounds. And we got our photos here, and they have a stroke on them. So there I'm seeing the layer styles we talked about. So they put a stroke around the photos. So that's excellent. And then we got our titles, right? Our titles are all the same font, same size, same color, and then our description of what each web page is. So it's an excellent example. So that's why I went ahead and pulled it to show it to you. And you got your links here along the top. So this is kind of the idea, right? So create a web page, title, like 3 links with either images or something, right? Basically 3 images, 3 shapes or something here in the middle to link you, some links along the top. All right, so again, pretty basic website design. All right, for those of you guys using Photopea, I wanted to show you some of the tips and tricks and things to do in Photopea for the typography assignment. So first off, we need to create a new document. So go ahead and go File, New, and we want to go ahead and switch this back to inches again, and we're going to make our width 11. So we're going to do a standard piece of paper, so it's 8.5 by 11, but we want it to go wideways, so 8.5 is our height, and our width is 11. And then our dots per inch is 300, all right? And then we'll go ahead and hit create. And that gives us our blank canvas. All right, so now to add some text, if we go down here to the capital T, that is our text tool. That'll pull up the text tool, right? It is a little bit slow sometimes on Photopea, loading the fonts. There's an interesting font. Here we go. I choose my font. I click on my canvas. It loads it. It loads it super small. So let me just type in test, right? Oh, that's so small I can't even read it. So let me highlight that. So up here at the top I have my options, right, to change the fonts, what the font is. So I can choose between a serif and a sans serif font or a script font. I can choose whether it's regular or bold or italics. And then we got size. So if I just click on the word size and drag to the left, it makes it bigger so I can actually see what the heck I'm doing. Let's see here. Let me pick another one that maybe has some more options. So I pick this one here. So you can see we got regular and we have bold. And if it had an italics option, there would be an italics option. So we can use that to kind of switch between bold and regular. And then we have our justification or our alignment. So let me testing. So right now, as you can see, we're left aligned. So if I was doing paragraphs worth of, or if I was doing like that big group of text underneath the link to the different pages, I'd probably want to stick with left align, right? Because it's a lot of information. But if I'm doing, I don't know, title or something else, right? We could do center alignment, and we could do right aligned, right? So those are all different options there. So if it was maybe a caption for an image or something like that, maybe we want to do right aligned. So again, if you notice when I switched to the move tool, all of a sudden I lost my controls for my text up there. So again, I got to go back to the text tool or to regain those options. And if I highlight the text, it'll actually apply the changes to that text. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to put it back on left aligned and move it back over here in the center. All right, so back to my text tool, highlight the text. Then right here, again, the black box is your color picker, so you can pick a different color for it if you want. So now we got this red color. And then somebody was asking about how do you cause the text to be like curved, if I wanted to be like curved around a circle or something like that. That's going to be, on Photopea, it's going to be this button here called Warp. And you can adjust the bend. So if you adjust the bend, oh, sorry. First you got to choose the style. So you can choose an arc, lower arc, upper arc, fish. So you have all these different options. So if I put it on arc, right? It kind of bends it upwards, and I can adjust the amount of the bend upwards or downwards. You can adjust the distortion left or right. Right? Here's a lower arc. Here's a bulge, right? So there's all these kind of different options to kind of warp your text flag. So I'm just going to put it back to none. So there you go, you got some text. That's the basic tools for text. Now, if I want to go in here and adjust the tracking, right? So if I want to adjust the spacing between each letter for some reason, maybe I want to spread this out. I can go over here to this button on the right that says CHA. CHA for character. So it's right over here. And that'll bring up my settings. It's a little bit more limited in here than it is in Photoshop, but we still got quite a few settings, so we can adjust the size, which we can already adjust elsewhere. But we have the tracking, right? So the tracking here adjusts the spacing between each letter. So if I wanted to adjust that, I could. So again, if there's 413%. So let me click off of it. Let's see here. Right. How do I click on the background? There you go. Doesn't look too bad, right? If I wanted to set it back to original, I just set it back to 0%. And there it goes. It goes back to the default setting. Leading? I don't know what leading does. To be honest with you, I'd have to look that up. But there is baseline shift. So we talked a little bit about baseline shift, right? There we go. Highlight a letter, right? Doesn't work super well in here. It only gives you a pretty limited 10 pixel baseline shift. So you can shift your letters up and down just a little bit. Again, it's not the most, you don't have as much control as you do in Photoshop. But it is there. You could adjust it, or you could just put in your letters individually and just move them up and down if you really wanted to create more of an effect, since this doesn't seem to do a whole lot. And then you got the options down here again for bold or italics, strike through, underline, right? Some different options. All right, so that's your text tool and how you use it to kind of adjust your text. And then everything else you guys should know, right? So shape tools down here towards the bottom. Right, if we click on hold on it, we got the rectangle, we got the ellipse, we even got the custom shape tool, which will pull up. Oh, here we go. Pulls up a bunch of custom shapes that you can use. Kind of cool. Oh, look, it even has our social media icons in there, pre-set up for you. So again, those are all pretty simple, right? We've already gone over how to use them. So there's a shape, and you can adjust the fill for said shape, and the stroke if you want to. And then remember to put in an image. So if you want to put in an image, you go File, Open in Place, and then find a photo that you want to put in here. And there we go. There's our photo. And remember, you got the layer styles there. And here it says effects, and you can drop in a drop shadow and outer glow, right? All right, so there you go. You got all the tools at your disposal. So go ahead and create something, kind of a mock website, like we saw. Where did we see it? We saw it over here, right? So that's kind of the template you want to use. Again, I'm going to be looking mainly at the text to make sure that you only use 2 fonts, one from each family. So one sans serif font and one serif font, right? And if I see more than 2 fonts, right? So if I look in here and I go, oh, these fonts don't match, then you're going to lose some points. All right, so again, try to choose a font family that communicates your topic. Design according to hierarchy. Use similarity and contrast. And yeah, try to create contrast but avoid conflict. All right, so good luck to you.